Hello everyone and welcome to my fourth Digimon Tamers retrospective video. This time I'm going to be covering episode 4, A Tamer's Task, Defeat Gorimon. So before I get into my thoughts, just a brief synopsis of what happened this episode. So it starts off where episode 3 finished, with the Gilmon saving Ruki from Galgomon, and then Ruki and Renamon retreating to working on strategies. So during this time, Li struggles to help Galgomon to revert to Terriermon, and he gets him to do a handstand for the rest of the day, and he explains that this is because to revert you have to actually use up all this extra energy that you have as a result of evolving. So usually this is by battling and using up your energy that way, but because nothing really happened, Galgomon kind of just aimed his cannon at a 10-year-old and didn't actually get to fight anything. He has this extra energy. So he has to do a handstand for the rest of the day, and meanwhile we then have Takado designing Gilmon's adult form after seeing Terriermon evolve. The next day, a digital field appears with a Gorimon, and instead of fighting, Li tries to reason with the Digimon, which we have again another perspective of what Digimon are for. Anyway, so Gorimon aims a cannon, which is a recurring theme in this show, is aiming cannons at children. So he aims a cannon at Takado and Li, but Terriermon attacks and causes him to miss. Li tries to get Terriermon to stop fighting, but Terriermon objects. And then we get a flashback where we learn that Li actually has fought this Gorimon before. And the way he got into Digimon was he was playing this American Digimon game that his father got him for, I'm not sure if it's Christmas or another holiday, but he gets like a present, and it's the American Digimon game. And Li chose Terriermon as a partner. So Gorimon's on a rampage killing all these Digimon and he's absorbing their data, and Li feels that this is really cruel. And he's kind of enraged by the cruelness of Gorimon and starts just swiping all these Digimodify cards, or cards/cards, or Digimon card game cards. And this actually results in Terriermon evolving to Galgomon, and he ends up actually going on a rampage himself, which kind of shocks Li. We have the other flashback of Li being sad, and we have his dad telling him to not worry because Digimon are just data, but this actually makes Li more upset. So when he goes back to his computer and he starts crying because Terriermon feels so real to him, and he gets even more upset when he sees that Terriermon's actually hurt. His cards drop, and then he discovers a blue card. So this is very similar to how Takado found the blue card in episode 1, where he dropped the cards and then a blue card just sort of appeared. It doesn't really just sort of appear on your desk, you have to drop your cards first. And he then swipes this through the card reader, similar to how Takado swiped his through his card reader. And this transforms it into a Digivice, and Terriermon falls out of the computer's monitor. Takado then, in real time, not in the flashback, gives Li the card that Hirokazu gave him earlier in this episode, and it enables Terriermon to fling these training grips onto Gorimon, which slows him down, and he's able to defeat him. At the end of the episode, when Gorimon's defeated, Terriermon does not load the data. So just brief thoughts on this one, because there's some things that I want to get to, but I can't get to it until we have Ruki's introduction to Digimon. So I'll keep this nice and short and sweet. But overall my thoughts are that I've had this complaint with Digimon before about how children never seem to really be at risk. It's always their Digimon and they're kind of just standing off in the background being safe. But so far, basically every episode has had the child in some danger because of a Digimon. Even though the first one was kind of Gilmon's not actually going to attack Takado, it still had him think he's in danger. And then every episode we've kind of just had, kids are actually in danger with these actual monsters that are showing up. And that's something nice that Tamers actually sets up. Like, we've got Galgomon trying to basically kill Ruki and aims a cannon at her, and then we've got Gorimon aiming a cannon at Takado and Li. And while some of these are kind of cut a little bit in the English dub, it's always something that I like to point out. Like, it is nice that we actually aim weapons at children, because they are there. They are weaker than the Digimon, and they are the evolution batteries, so it makes sense to try to hurt the children. and it's only ever done like a few times before this. It's done in my favourite episode, Digimon Adventure, which is Playing Games, which is the Puppetmon's Playhouse episode with, in the original, him aiming a gun, like Puppetmon aiming a gun at Takeru, which is kind of wild, but this season kind of does that a bit more, where the children are actually in danger. So that's pretty cool. And this episode also shows how Li is different from Ruki. We have Ruki wanting to absorb the data of the Digimon that she defeats. Well, she wants Renamon to, rather. And then, and because that enables them to be stronger. And then in this episode, we see that Li tells Terriermon to not absorb the data. So we kind of have the concept of death and basically absorbing the data and energy from your opponent. And we have something that, and we know that that's something that Ruki does, and that Li tells Terriermon not to do. And then we have Takato, who I don't think Li has an opinion on it yet. I know that later on he does, and we'll get to that when it's relevant. But anyway, so I think that's like an interesting touch that we have. These three kids all have different views on absorbing data. And as for my overall ranking, I really did like this episode. I really liked the flashbacks. I like how we saw that Li had a different introduction to getting into Digimon, as in real Digimon, not as in the franchise. I like how that's, again, different from Takato's. He had a video game, so he was playing a video game, and that's how he got to become a chosen child, whether Takato was just sort of playing the card game and kind of just in making his own fan art, basically, and that's how he got into it. But I'll touch on that more in episode 6, when we learn about how Ruki and Renamon meet, because it's a nice contrast that all these three kids have different ways that they became chosen child. Chosen child? Chosen children. It's weird there. But anyway, so that was basically more or less my opinions on episode 4. Let me know what you thought about episode 4, if you watched it yourself, or if you enjoyed this episode, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!